Yes, glad you find your way to the small session. The idea of what I'm talking about in the next, I guess, half an hour will be how you can deal with anxiously, with scares, with all the challenges in terms of the IoT, using things like prototyping, design thinking, simply just being a little bit more creative, a little bit more childish, and just to experience what you are doing, what you're talking about, and what you are probably dealing with your partners. And that's what we talk about in the next half an hour. And yes, the main topic somehow is smart home, but smart home is just one idea of the Internet of Things. So just take it as a substitute for your industrial solutions. It could be the same for a train, for whatever you can imagine in terms of connected, in terms of distributed devices. So that's what we are doing in the next half an hour. And in case you have no clue after my 30 minutes what I was talking about, hopefully I can at least inspire you with this first sample, which is a connected smart home. It's built by Mattel. It's called Hello Barbie Dream House, and I think it's a great example on how you can experience smart homes, how you could build kind of a prototype. Well, this is a finished toy. You can buy that for around about $300, but you could build your industrial solution in a similar way. And I like it very much because it deals with the idea of a connected home and using voice commands, a voice-controlled home, which I guess will be somehow the future of most of the IoT devices for several reasons. And for instance, you can start the party mode, you can turn the stairways into a slide, and so on and so forth. And it's not only good, there are some issues with this solution in terms of privacy and stuff like that, but I will talk about that later. Anyway, talking about the issues, the challenges with the IoT and connected devices and new forms of interactivity, it's a little bit like always. If there's something new in the world, there are people scared about that. That was always the same, even in the past. For instance, at the time they did invent the train, that was around about 1830, the people thought that everything which is faster than 20 miles per hour, which was at that time around the average speed of a horse, so the fastest transportation they didn't know, the people thought that it's dangerous, and if it's faster than 30 miles per hour, it will suck out your brain and you will probably die. So that was the idea, and it's very similar to the idea of the Internet of Things in terms of a lot of people dealing with that, customers buying connected devices. They are scared about this because they don't understand the opportunities, and it's in our responsibility to deal with that, to talk about the fears and also talk about the challenges and the opportunities, what you can do good with all these things. So it's the same like that, because nowadays nobody is scared about driving trains anymore. And I hope this will be the same with the IoT. Anyway, IoT and connected devices, distributed systems is not really new, even if it feels like new, because it's much more affordable, it's cheaper, it's smaller. Nowadays you can get devices. You see maybe this small blue part. This is a Wi-Fi enabled, at least embedded CPU, and so-called ESP chip, and it costs you maybe $1 or something like that, this blue part. The red part is just a breakout board to connect batteries, to connect sensors and stuff like that. But the computer is only the blue part for $1, and this is something you nowadays can use to build your IoT devices. Anyway, it's not really new, as mentioned. For instance, I like the sample of ATMs because they have been invented around the late 60s. They did start in London and Sydney at that time. So that was, in my experience, the first time we had something like distributed systems which dealt with physical goods, like in this case money. The most famous sample for the IoT is from the early 80s. It's a connected vending machine, a beverage dispenser for Coke. And funny story about that is why people do something like that. And there was no business case. It was just need driven, because the students at the university where they had this vending machine, they was a little bit disappointed, sad that they always had to go to the vending machine to see it's empty, it's broken, I can't get a cold Coke anymore. And now they did connect that, and so they could see on their desk if it's operating properly, so if they can get a cold Coke or if there's some maintenance needed. That was somehow, it was need driven by, in quotes, customers, but it was somehow the beginning of M2M, machine-to-machine communication, which is simply another term for nowadays, in terms of marketing speech, for IoT. Well, I know it's a difference, but most people mix that simply up. As mentioned, IoT is much more affordable. You can use it for almost everything. Here are some of my favorite samples of connected devices, which somehow did inspire me. For instance, a connected toaster, which toasts you the current weather for if you need that in the morning. Connected cars, I think it's obvious. A connected toothbrush. This is a good sample of the issue with business models and usage, because most people are scared about connected toothbrushes because they think the vendor can control you, because they can force you to replace the brush now because they exactly know how often you use this, and so on and so forth. But on the other hand, I met people which are really happy about this invention because their kids, they lack doing a proper cleaning of their teeth, and thanks to this application, there's a high score and there's a smiley popping up if you do it properly. Their kids do it much better nowadays. So there's always something good and bad about these connected devices. One more example is this connected dock. The owner of this dock, he did it, by the way, with openHAB, which is kind of a sibling of Eclipse SmartHome, or is using Eclipse SmartHome as a core framework, but he did it with openHAB, a smart home solution, because he could not stay without his dog, but his employer did force him to go to the office, and therefore he did connect his dog, so he always is in touch with the dog. He can establish kind of a communication line to talk to the dog, and the dog now can autonomously go outside. And the best invention here is they have kind of an accelerometer in the neck, and thanks to that they exactly know where the dog did do his duty, so they can clean up afterwards, even if the dog does do it without his owner. Connected, oh, this is a good one, connected wick. It's I don't know why you need a connected wick, but it's a patent by Sony, and they say it's for inner city navigation, for pedestrian navigation. So your hair starts vibrating, something like that, if you have to turn left or right. I think it's a little awkward. The other one, which unfortunately it's no product you can buy. I would immediately buy it. It's a connected toilet paper printer, and just imagine you get all your Twitter tweets on toilet paper. That would be awesome. So these are some samples of the Internet of Things on what you can do. But anyway, it's well, we are still somehow in this progressive thinkers area. So people who have an innovative mindset, people who are open-minded to technology, they like what we are doing. They like to buy these products. But the great majority of people who are warriors, we still have to convince them, especially because we are not really doing a good job. For instance, I work in the smart home business, and honestly, I totally can second that. It is still way too complicated what we are doing. Well, there are some scenarios where it makes sense to connect your home, but most of the stuff is simply just way too complicated. We failed with our value proposition. For instance, the fridge, the connected fridge, was invented in the late 90s by Electrolux. It's so far, I think it's the first company who did build a connected fridge. But honestly, how should that work? Because in this case, you need to somehow scan all single products you place in your fridge. You have to use a scale to get how much milk is in the bottle or whatever, because otherwise you can't detect that. So it's way more effort to maintain the parts inside your fridge than before, and it's not really a useful scenario. Nobody ever will buy that. Well, there's another solution for a connected fridge, fridge, I guess it's not really bad. It's done by BSH, and they simply just put cameras inside the fridge. So if you're in the grocery store, supermarket, you can look inside your fridge. But even this would, in my case, totally fail because I have a family with 2 kids, and the fridge it's layered. In height and depth, so there's no way to see what's inside the fridge, and you can't see how old are the products, you can't see how many eggs are in the egg box and so on. So I think we failed totally, even if you try to invent something like that since close to 20 years. Another sample why we are doing a bad job, it's a little bit compared to the invention of the Edison electric light. At the time, this electric light was well invented, established. The first public installation has been in New York around 1900. They did start with street lights, electric street lights, but the people did not know how that works. So they had to place these signs everywhere, because otherwise people tried to turn on the light with fire because they did not know electric light. So they did start these signs to somehow educate, to teach the consumers how it might work. Well, in this case, it worked out well, but in the case of the Internet of Things, it's still horrible, because if you get home and you want to turn on your light, first you have to get your phone out of your pocket, then you have to unlock your phone, then you have to find the right application to start it, and then you have to find the device you want to control, and finally you can turn on your light, but only if your wife or whoever lives with you did not turn off the light via the wall switch, because if there's no power on your light, there's no way to communicate with the light. That's, by the way, one of the reasons why smart home solutions usually don't turn off light, they just turn them into a standby mode, because if they really would turn off those devices, you can't turn on them anymore. And this is how it works nowadays. And I dubbed this will long-term work out. I think we need new ways of smartness, intelligence. Probably a smart home knows that you are at home, so everything works automatically. That would be the future vision, so there's no need to somehow interact with your home anymore. It's a little bit like the perfect partner. So I'm close to that, I guess. I'm married, but I wish my wife always would know how I feel, what I want, and I would always get my favorite meals, and she would turn on and off the light like I need it without I have to say it. But anyway, in the meantime, we still have to say it like in a regular relationship, and I guess something like these conversational devices, the Amazon Echo, Alexa is the name of the assistant, Samsung Bixby, even Apple is introducing something like that, Apple HomePod, which you might by the end of the year. Microsoft is working in this area. My favorite name, by the way, is a Chinese device. They call it Ling Long Ding Dong. Ling Long means something like means something like friend, like girlfriend, and Ding Dong, as far as I know, because I can't speak Chinese, people told me so, and Ding Dong is just the sound of the bell. But I guess this will be somehow the future. I guess people will expect it to be like that. Unfortunately, you can't hear that in this Star Trek sample, but they did travel back in time. It's one of my favorite Star Trek movies because they need a whale, I guess, for some reasons. And he tries to communicate with his PC, and he tries to speak to the PC, but this fails. And the person from that time, he says, you need to use the mouse, and he takes the mouse and he says something through the mouse because he thinks it's a microphone. But this will be the future, because this is one of my how can you say it, challenges and what I do every day. I practice interactivity, smart home, IoT with my family, and I observe those, how do they use it. And we have a lot of these connected devices and speakers at home, and my kids expect devices to be voice enabled. And if they can't speak to a device, they think it's broken. It's a little bit comparable to touch screens, because if you nowadays go with kids to devices, screen devices, they expect them to be touch enabled. If they are not touch enabled, they think it's broken. But back to some of the challenges. using these connected devices is sometimes a little bit scary, and I've shown you the connected smart home, and there's something similar like this Hello Barbie dream house. It's called Hello Barbie simply, and it's a small toy doll, and kids can use it to talk to this doll, to communicate with the doll, and to tell her about their well, ideas and favorite colors and favorite unicorns, whatever. And this is, well, this got the Big Brother Award in Austria for a simple reason. It's not because of technology, security, privacy, and so on. It's simply because the parents can misuse that. They can just sit on the sofa and listen to everything their kids told this doll. This is a little bit like reading in a diary. And that's the reason why they got this Big Brother award. But if you think about that, it's not really an issue with the technology, because diaries have been available since hundreds of years. And one of the main reasons for the success of diaries in the US was that the parents wanted to know more about their kids, so they forced their kids to write diaries. So people have been always mean. The major difference nowadays is it scales in another way. So if I can read in one, in quotes, diary, nowadays I can read in millions of diaries. The other sample is my friend Kayla. That's also a connected doll. And this one is banned in Germany, at least. So if you own one in Germany, you can get sued for that. You have to immediately destroy it. You even cannot own it, you can't sell it, no way. You have to destroy it because it's, in quotes, it's a spy device. And spy device means it listens to what will be said in the room all the time and streams it into the internet. This is a difference to the Hello Barbie doll, because the Hello Barbie doll has kind of a belly button. You have to push on this button and then it listens to you. It's like the wake word if you use something like the Echo boxes, Amazon Echo, Amazon Alexa, Google Home, because there you have to use the wake word either. So as long as there's a way to activate it, and as long as these devices show you that they record something, maybe through blinking or a red light, then it's okay. But if it's somehow hidden, not obvious, it's forbidden, at least in Germany. Anyway, I mentioned that I think those devices need to be more empathic. They need to anticipate what we like. And this is a sample from Simpsons. It's from 2001, so even that is very old. And in this sample, the house, the connected, the smart home, knows the favorite dishes of the favorite meals of the people living there, of the family, because it did analyze their leavings, so in the toilet somehow. It sounds a little bit awkward, but this is the way how they do it in this way, and so it prepares everything the people like in advance. So I think that would be somehow cool if I could have something like that. But on the other hand, this connected home falls in love with Marge, the wife of Homer, and tries to kill Homer. So you see there's always downs and ups. Anyway, if you don't want to have something like that, if you're scared now, you have no chance. Yes, resistance is futile. We will have these kind of devices if we not have it already, because retail chains, they already check your gender, your age, and they can connect it with your personal data. They do it already. And there's, for instance, there's a beverage dispenser in Japan which can do something like that. It can check your gender, age, and it even can check your mood, and then it recommends you the perfect drink. I'm not sure about the price, if it will change the price either. You know all the stories. If you're surfed through the internet with an iPhone, you get higher prices compared to using an Android phone, and they can do it based on the mood, for instance. If you want to deal with something like that, I think this is something you do on an everyday basis. So I will bore you a little bit. It's at least it's very pretty simple to build applications like that, to make your very first experience and to get a feeling for the opportunities and the challenges. And all you need to know is how event or message buses work, because all IoT devices nowadays are somehow connected through messages to a bus system. Sometimes you have your services, devices going through the cloud. Sometimes you have a gateway in between. Sometimes you have a bridge in between, and some devices devices, they can be connected to this event bus immediately, and other devices can subscribe these events. So that's the way how it works. And if you want to build something like that, you could, for instance, you could start with MQTT as event bus system, and then you could use something like Node-RED to build your controlling logic, the connectivity between all the devices. I'm not sure if this will be the final solution, because if you think of millions of devices somehow connected through a bus system, it might become quite challenging to maintain all these devices. Maybe there will be something like a social net of things. This is an academic approach where devices can talk to each other directly, where devices set up themselves without the need of some maintenance. Not sure if there will be something like that which probably works, but this is the current solution, and all smart home solutions, all IoT solutions I know, they work in a similar way. So the question is, once you have your bus system and your devices can send messages, how can you make your experience to demonstrate the opportunities and to deal with the fears, to show that to possible customers and to discuss what they think, how they could work with these devices? Okay, I could use that. And my approach is to find environments which are somehow developer and consumer related, because I personally think that every consumer is somehow a developer. Because if a consumer has a strong need, like the one with the dog I did show you a few slides before, who couldn't stay without his dog and needs a way to communicate with his dog, he has a strong demand, and therefore he did find his very own solution to deal with that. And there are a lot of samples like that. For instance, if you have door-window switches, which the name says it, are for getting if a door is open or closed, or if it's a window open or closed. People sometimes they use it in a different scenario. They just use these devices to detect their for instance, their post box, if it's open or closed, something like that. So you can place it just in other scenarios in a different environment, and then you have a new solution. So you are, in quotes, kind of a developer. And this one is, this is Scratch. Scratch is a visual programming environment. Even at that time, my son was around about 9 years old, and he was able to build his own solutions. And I did provide simple REST interfaces, so he did not have to deal with REST. He just uses these blocks, and he could place all these blocks together. And behind that, there was REST interface to our smart home solution, QIVICON, or Eclipse SmartHome, and he could build his own scenarios in those solutions. And for hardware prototyping, I bought this one thing. This is called Makey. This is a small Arduino-based device, which works as a keyboard and mouse. So if you put it into your PC, it works like a human interface device. You can detect everything what's going on here, like keystrokes or mouse movements. And you can then connect Play-Doh, for instance. You can use tinfoil. Even pencil drawings work because they are somehow conductive. And you can use these things to build your own hardware solutions for a first prototype, to do something. And that was a great experience, to do something like that together with my kids, because they have so great ideas building things like that. But then my son, he said, well, that's boring, and I want to do this XYZ coding, which looks like a strange word version. And I said, okay, let's start with real programming, but first I need to learn Minecraft, because there are some extensions to Minecraft, so that my son could start coding Minecraft at first with the programming language. It's called Lua. So he gave me a short introduction into Minecraft, which lead, by the way, into talks I did together with my son. So he did the Minecraft part to explain to you, to developers, how Minecraft works. And then my part was how you can extend Minecraft to use it for IoT scenarios to make your very first and your very own experience. Anyway, that's the way how you can use Lua to write your code. You need in Minecraft these blocks, and there are, thanks to an extension which is called ComputerCraft, you get your computers, your disk drives, your printers, and as said, you can code those with Lua. And I like to show it to you how it might work. Hopefully it will work. And I show it in real if you like. If not, I can get back to the video. So this is my Minecraft world, and let's see if it works. And the disappointing part about this world is that, oh, it takes way too long. Ah, here it is. This is the Minecraft world, and my son, he did build this house, and this house is totally connected. So hopefully you can see it a little bit. So there is a connected door. You need a pin code to get inside this house. Unfortunately, I don't know the pin code for the house because the last time I went into the house, I did burn it down, and therefore my son, he said, no, you're not supposed to get in my house again. And he did build the small one, the small hut for me, where I can do whatever I like to do. And if you do something interactive in Minecraft, usually you use something which is called redstone. Redstone is kind of electricity, conductive material, sand, and then you can use levers like that to turn on and off lights, for instance. And people, they can combine these things together, because here this might be an AND gate. So if I turn on both, you see I get on the light. And if I turn off one of the levers, it goes out again. So this is simply an AND gate, and you can build in the same way. You can build your OR gates and NOR gates and whatever you can imagine without writing a single line of code. And there are people in the world, they build complete CPUs and hard drives and things like that just based on these redstones with millions of blocks. So I don't know how they do that. So I thought it might be a better idea to write my own Lua code. And if I have a look here, where it is, here it is, into this, hopefully you can see it a little bit, but I will do it brighter in a second. I can now, where is my switch? I can turn on something. And if I get back, you see, now it's on. And if I go back to my smart home application, I can turn it off again. And you see, now it's turned off. And everything he did use was an API I did provide, which uses REST and JSON in the background to communicate with my Eclipse SmartHome environment. And he now can write his simple Lua code for single computers to communicate with real-world devices. That was the starting idea. And then he said, this is somehow boring. I need something more interesting. So we did start creating extensions, something like this, this wand you can see here, this magic wand. And it simply uses the same interface. And now I can hopefully kill this. And you see, it's now an augmented experience. I do it again. If I kill this this chicken, so oh, wrong. It runs away. You see, I can't kill it, and the real world light goes on either. So it's a new experience. And then we did continue that, and simple command start 99. Hopefully it works. And you see, here's now this device is connected. It's just simple Wi-Fi connected. There's a simple web server running, which provides everything via JSON. And here's the light sensor. And if I make it dark, you see it's getting dark here. It's getting lighter here. It detects the temperature and humidity. So everything which happens in the real world will be synchronized with Minecraft. And even if there are some dangerous things, I get beeping here, so that helps my son to get to toilet again. So you know there's something dangerous going on. I have to interrupt my duty here to get back. So that's the idea. So how could you do something like that? And this is pretty easy because there are extension kits in quotes, and these kits are called, I use two different ones. One is called Minecraft Forge, and Minecraft Forge is it's kind of a Java environment for creating your own Minecraft versions. It by the way, it helps you to get a free Minecraft version too, because it takes the real Minecraft and does recompile it. So you get recompiled source, and once you compile it again, you have your free version of Minecraft. And in Minecraft Forge, in the mod development kit, mod for modification kit, there's a simplified API included. So it's quite easy to build something. And everything you need to know is you need a descriptive file which describes your extension, and you need at least one single Java file. And inside this Java file, you have to declare your modification, which relates to this info file I mentioned before. So you need a unique name and things like that. But the main work is done inside these handlers, because everything is event-driven inside Minecraft. And thanks to this Minecraft Forge simplified API, you just have to listen to these events. That's everything you have to do. And the easiest way to get started is to write your own commands, like the one I used, which was called simple SmartHome command, I think, or sensor command. And the command, by the way, the command is just a simple, yes, it follows the command pattern. It's a simple Java file where you only have to write down what should happen once this command will be executed. And in my case, I did start something which listens to this device. So that's everything happening here. So it's very easy. But I was not happy with this solution because it's kind of fixed propriety, and I only can use it in this very concrete environment. And I thought about a more generic solution, and therefore I created an extension for Minecraft which exposes everything which happens in Minecraft via REST. So I have SSE, server sent events, for events happening in Minecraft, and on the other hand I can send REST commands to Minecraft to control it from outside. That was the idea, and thanks to that it now works a little bit like that. So this is now a multiplayer solution. And the advantage of this multiplayer solution is that now several people can join one world. Well, with Minecraft Forge that would be possible too, but it's a little bit more effort compared to the solution I have. And if you see, I'm here, and if I open my Minecraft server, the events, then you see that if I open a door or close the door, you see I get JSON-based events. Oops. Oh. So, and on the other hand, I get a list of all somehow relevant blocks. So I can read all the items, all the things. I can read single things. I can set the state of single things. So that's everything I did with Minecraft. I did expose that. And thanks to that, now I have solutions where I can connect almost everything to the real world. So I can now turn off and on the light. You see it works again. Via that, I did define some rules in my smart home solution. And well, I am running out of time, but I have one more simple sample where I use Bluetooth beacons at doors. And once you get close to the doors with your phone, doors inside Minecraft open or close and things like that. So I try to combine the real world with the virtual world again. And how do you do that? It's very much the same like using Minecraft Forge. In this case, it's based on Spigot or Spigot, not sure how you pronounce that, which some people use something similar. It's called Bucket. So there are two major and mostly used ways of doing something like that. I did decide to go with Spigot. And Spigot is a Minecraft server. It works on a Raspberry Pi. And I did create this extension using Spigot. And here I need the same. I need a YAML file instead of an info file. And I need at least a Java file. So, and inside my Java file, I again can register events. I can again register commands. I can listen to events. So it's very much the same way it works. So it's a little bit up to you. Minecraft Forge is the more popular version of extending Minecraft because that works on your PC in a simple single instance of Minecraft. But once you think about using a server environment, you should think about using Spigot. And honestly, it's even easier to write code for Spigot compared to Minecraft Forge. Minecraft Forge is a little bit more complicated, and in both cases, it's not really well documented. It's a lot of trial and error. But that was the reason why I wanted to expose everything via REST and SSE so I can build my very own solution. And the next step was, once I had that, I thought about how could I use it with my smart home. I already did demonstrate that, but I used Eclipse SmartHome, and I did create an extension, so-called binding for Eclipse SmartHome, which works with the commercial version of QIVICON, and it works with the open source community version for a smart home called openHAB. It works with all three environments, with the core framework, with the commercial solution, and with the open source solution. This binding simply listens to SSE and sends commands via REST, and it uses I forgot the name. What is if devices expose their capabilities? DNS? No, MDNS. It works with MDNS either, so it detects automatically if there's some new device. I can show it to you. If I go to my environment and I go to inbox, I see recently detected new devices, but in this case, these are just simply Minecraft blocks. So I don't distinguish between real-world devices and Minecraft devices. I can mix those up freely. Yes, that's the idea. And now you might ask, I need 5 more minutes to get this 5 minutes. Yeah? Yeah, okay, so I hurry through that. That was a way of creating Minecraft bindings. You can get these slides in the internet freely. So you can look it up, and I have everything on GitHub or the source, so if you like to use it for your own solution. But simply to wrap it up, why do I do that? For several reasons. For instance, Minecraft is the most popular PC game in the world, so it's important for marketing reasons and awareness, for hiring people, for instance. And my line manager, thanks to this sample, he asked me to do a complete booth and a setup for a booth in this Minecraft design. So we used that for hiring booths and things like that. It's one more reason is because, as mentioned before, I think everybody could be a developer, even just the user of your solutions. Therefore, I need something which helps you to leverage solutions, experiences very fast. I need something for these so-called design or hybrid thinking workshops where I can lower the barriers for the people so that they can get much more creative. So to turn them from warriors to innovators, and things like Minecraft toys, they help. But it only works if you have a construction kit handy, if you have a way to work virtuous with the devices and the solutions and the technologies. So you need somebody who is really capable of using all these things on the fly with some provided libraries. It's not about creating market-ready product. It's about creating experience and showing ideas. And yes, indeed, there are a bunch of projects I did that way. Some did turn into projects, others did fail. But if you fail fast, you free up resources for new ideas. So failing is, in most cases, also a success. And last but not least, then I'm done, I think this is a way to show our responsibility to the wild, because we are responsible for what people do with our solutions. We are responsible for building up the future of interactivity, of connected devices. So we can't just be simple requirement developers anymore. We have to know that we are responsible. We have to talk to people using our solutions. Yes, for instance, if you are a web developer and you build a connected door lock in the way a web developer usually does it, and you say, well, if this door does not work for an hour or so, it doesn't matter. Like if this website does not work for an hour or so, it doesn't matter. But think about, there might be a fire behind you and you can't leave your house anymore. And this is something we have to be aware of. Yes, we have to talk to people, how they use it, and so on. So that's it from my side. I hope I could inspire you somehow. Thank you for your patience. Okay.